Hey everyone, my name is Nate, and welcome back to Project Nerd, where nearly everything is reviewed and discussed. Today I'm here with,
Rachel?
and we're going to be reviewing the Disney live-action Aladdin and comparing it to the original. But before we get started, don't forget to follow Creator Source Studios on Instagram and Facebook at Creator Source Studios to hear about all the other projects that we're working on outside of Project Nerd. And without further ado, let's talk about Aladdin. So we've descended through the rings of Disney live action hell, and we've finally arrived to what may be the one I was looking forward to the most.
You're looking forward to this one.
Yes.
For good reasons or for bad reasons?
For both. Because this movie
It caused quite the stir when the trailer dropped. I do recall that.
I do remember
Blue Will Smith was quite the hit.
Right, Will Smith's audition
quite the hit
to be
and
a
quite
part
the
of
miss.
Will Smith's audition tape to be a part of James Cameron's Avatar. I do remember seeing that. This movie was pretty controversial when it was still coming out, because I remember people saw Blue Will Smith and they were like, this looks awful. Like, this looks like the worst thing I've ever seen. And
at the same time, so many people were concerned about Blue Will Smith that I feel like nobody was concerned about the fact that this could have turned out horribly, because the original film was quite controversial also for its interpretation of Arab culture. So I feel like that was something that maybe because when I heard that they were doing it, I was like, oh
no.
Oh no. And then they dropped that first trailer and they put Blue Will Smith in it. And I almost feel like that was the right move, because everyone went,
Wait a
minute. And no one went, maybe this is cultural appropriation. So
I mean, nevertheless, this is a film that exists. It came out. It's still here.
That it did.
And
now we must determine whether or not it deserves to exist.
I'm gonna give you a preview.
That seems to be the rating system. Yeah. That seems to be the rating system we've established for these episodes. Does it deserve to exist?
We're putting together a very succinct list that we're going to send to the universe once the series is over. And these are the films that we have deemed acceptable to exist. And it will just dispose of the other ones. I think it's kind of funny, though, that people were so upset about Blue Will Smith, and then we got the Cats movie just a couple months after that. I really think that CGI was just a terrible misstep for humanity.
Let's get this out of the way, because this was obviously the biggest challenge when it came to transitioning this film into live action, because obviously the elephant in the room is that they are missing their biggest cast member, Robin Williams. God rest his soul. A beautiful man.
We miss him every day.
So, yes. So that was going to be, the thing that was going to be the most difficult for them. Mm-hmm. And chose Will Smith, and everybody went, I don't know about that. And honestly, I almost prefer it, because I have nightmares about what Blue Robin Williams would have looked like.
Oh God! Oh no!
I don't even want to think about that.
Just let's thank our lucky stars that he was not around to see this. He did not have to do that, but yeah, I would agree, because the Genie is not only an integral part of the story. I think he's many people's favorite character in this movie,
right?
In both of these movies,
or even favorite character ever.
Yes,
like the Genie is such a popular character at this point, and it resonated with Robin Williams' performance. Was enjoyed by children and adults, mm-hmm. because the children liked how ridiculous he was, and the adults got all the references.
Right.
So, exactly. Which was great. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, to take that and have to replace it is very difficult. So, I mean, I didn't. A lot of people, I feel like, saw that this was happening and were like, I'm gonna hate it. It's gonna be bad. I don't even want to hear about it, but whatever. It's, I mean, I didn't hate it. I really didn't. I think he had some huge shoes to fill and did an adequate job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I mean,
Yeah, I would agree. When it comes to trying to replace Robin Williams, especially because that role in the original film was literally written for Robin Williams. They were
right.
so set on having him in that role that Michael Eisner literally bent over backwards to get him hired,
Mm-hmm.
and then completely screwed him afterwards. But that's another story.
Right.
Um,
Right. Like,
yeah.
to be hired for a job where you know you're not going to be able to do as well as the guy who did it before you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just have to.
He does a good job.
He does a good job, and it's not the same.
Yeah, no.
And I think people just have to accept that wasn't going to be the same.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to go in with sort of different expectations.
I feel like Friend Like Me, and this is going to segue very nicely into our discussion about
music. Our music talk. Yes.
Yes. Robin Williams is very much an impressions person. Like, if you watch his early comedy routines, he does a lot of impressions.
He does.
And a lot of weird voices. And that's kind of how he does his thing. So,
right.
Like Me.
And he's not a singer.
Right. He is not a professionally trained Broadway
Again,
singer.
not to, speak ill of
Robin Williams, but
a legend, he is not a great singer.
Right. So Friend Like Me, if you really look at it, is designed for him to just go nuts and do all these strange impressions using the genie's powers to like turn into a waiter or turn into this or turn into that.
Mm-hmm.
And that works for Robin Williams, but I feel like, and I don't think this is Will Smith's fault, I think this is the studio who was like, we need to stay close to this number, which I understand.
Close to the original, because it's a very famous song.
But Will Smith's Friend Like Me number, he still does all the weird things, like he turns into the waiter and he does all this stuff. It feels too much like it's just Will Smith performing the original number, whereas it's not Will Smith's version of the song, like, if that makes sense.
Right. I almost think he didn't go, I see what you're saying, and I almost feel like if that's what they wanted him to do, then you have to commit to it. And I don't feel like he did. Like, he sings all the same lines, and if you listen to the song side by side, you hear Robin Williams changing his voice because he's the impressionist. So take the waiter, for instance, because you brought that up. He puts on this French accent and does an accent for when he says that line, let me take your order, I'll jot it down. And Will Smith does not. So it's like, you didn't go far enough to, recreate that original song. And maybe he couldn't do it. Maybe he just can't do a French accent. I mean, that's fine. But like, if you're not going to commit to it, then it's not going to turn out, I think, the way you want. People are always going to compare to the original. Unless it's totally different, it's going to be compared to the original. Prince Ali, that's one of my favorite songs. So if you listen to this new version that they put in the live action film, and then you listen to the original version, they have Robin Williams singing, and then in the background, it just kind of sounds like it's one drum, like a single drum and a single trumpet, and it's just very weak.
It's not as grand because
It's
it doesn't
very
have
timid.
to be as grand.
It doesn't have to be, but it's very timid, and that's kind of a common thread with older songs from older animated movies, is that they were never as grand with the music. So the one thing that I really thought they did well with this is that they definitely upped the ante. It sounds like a full orchestra or band. Like you hear the instruments and you feel the bass,
Hmm.
and I really do think that added to the song, specifically Prince Ali and Arabian Nights. I thought that
Hmm.
was a really good rendition of that as well.
We haven't talked about
Correct.
Whole New World at all.
No, we have not.
We really should probably talk about A Whole New World.
And I think it's probably because it's the same.
Aggressively
And
mediocre.
it's fine.
It's fine. It's Naomi Scott and heaven forgive me, I can't remember his name, singing
I'm
this
not even going
song.
to attempt to pronounce it. Actually, wait. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Never mind. I will not.
They both do
Whoever's editing this video, just put his name on the screen.
I'll
Thank
put his name
you.
right here. Thank you.
Yep.
Um,
Thank you.
but yes, they do a fine job singing exactly the same song that they did in 1990, whatever it was. And that's all we're gonna say about A Whole New World.
That's all we need to say about
Exactly
it.
the same. My problem is like you don't get any time to establish who Aladdin is. He doesn't have enough room to breathe, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah, I can kind of see
he
that.
he is on screen for like 4 minutes before he meets Jasmine. And the rest of the movie is about, oh, I really like that Princess Jasmine, gee golly. But and
Gee
it's
golly.
it's true.
Gee
You don't
golly
get to
gosh.
see a lot of his character. And honestly, a lot of his character in those 4 minutes, I'm not a huge fan of. He comes off like he's really cocky. Like he's like, oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm the best thief in Agrabah, and I kind of know it. And
Mm-hmm.
like initially, you get the whole sequence with him escaping the guards, and then he gives like half the loaf of bread to the kids because like he's a good person. But we don't get that,
Hooray. No.
which is fine if you've seen the original. But if you haven't, you have no idea why he's the diamond in the
Right.
rough.
So they have taken all of that character development that originally went to um, Aladdin, and I will say, this is my personal opinion, they have taken all of that and they have shifted it over and they have given it to Jasmine. And they have written her this song. I feel like they spend quite a bit of time with her, and then she sings this sort of traditional female power ballad
Mm-hmm.
that they have written for this film, which is a fine song. The song is
It's
fine. The
fine.
song is good. It's a good, but they do spend quite a bit more time talking about like why she can't be sultan, and she's a woman,
Yeah,
so
they
she
spend quite
just
a bit of
needs
time on
to, be quiet and whatever. And
that. Yeah, and I don't
I
have an
mean,
issue spending more time
fine.
with Jasmine because Jasmine does
No, I don't
not
have
get
an
a lot
issue
of
either.
time in the original, other than her being like, oh, I really like that Aladdin, gee golly, but
And
um,
also, I don't want anyone to tell me what to do.
exactly.
And this man who's twice my age wants to marry me.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about my least favorite character, which is that dumbass Prince, whatever his name is, from I would assume it's some kind of like European kingdom because this is the
They
whitest
did that
man
on
alive.
purpose.
This is the
He is
whitest
the
man alive.
whitest man alive, and they have absolutely done this on purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
They said,
But
we're going to bring in this white man, and
and
he's
have him
going
be
to
an
act a
absolute
fool.
moron.
He's
Like,
going to act a fool in front of this princess.
oh my god. But yes, they spend quite a bit of time going over like Jasmine can't be sultan. But they also there's a scene I remember right after Aladdin and Jasmine escape the guards where it's just like a 3-minute exposition dump, like
It is.
explaining the
They're
plot
standing in
holes.
his little house thing,
Yes, and they're like, well,
and
you can see like the Disney writers that were like, why is Jasmine's mom gone? Oh, she got murdered. Why does Jasmine never come out in the city? Oh, because they're scared because her mom died. This is one major problem I have with this movie. The pacing is so bizarre and all over the place. Like the movie progresses very steadily. Like it's not like you're never bored. There's not a point in this
mm-hmm.
movie where I'm like, I am so god awfully bored that I want to stop. It's just the things that they're choosing to show me, while they are entertaining, aren't necessarily plot relevant, or like, I don't want to say they're not cool, but like they're not things that we need to be seeing. We could be spending time doing other things.
Right. So, bottom line, I watched this movie probably at least a couple months ago, and I did not rewatch it before we filmed this. So, the only things I remember distinctly are the plot beats from the original film.
Right.
That transitioned over. And all of that extra half hour or 40 minutes they've added, I don't remember any of it. So take it out. You don't need it. Because no one's going to remember.
You condense the absolute shit out of the first third. Parts. Just condense the whole thing. Just
condense the whole thing.
I swear to God.
Or take out the extra crap and uncondense the first third.
Well, see, but then you're just remaking the original film, and that's what they don't want you to think they're doing, but they are. That's the whole point of this series. That's why we're here.
We've done it. We've finally broken.
A clue, Sherlock.
Oh,
a breakthrough. God. Oh, God. Like why?
Oh, Lord, we've broken it down to its bare essentials.
We did it. This is it, Rachel. This is the breakdown we've been waiting to occur for the last 4 videos.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. It was only delayed because of elephant arson.
All right, let me just talk about the one thing I don't like about this film.
All right.
And that is going to be ya boy, Jafar. Some choices were made, and they were not the right ones. So, first of all right, here's the only thing I took away from this. And I don't know why this is the only thing I took away from this, but this is all I could think of when I was seeing this film. The actor who plays Aladdin is 5'8". The actress who plays Jasmine is 5'6".
Mm-hmm.
The actor they cast to play Jafar is 6 foot tall, and somehow he feels like the shortest person in this film. And I don't know if it's because in the animated film he was so, tall,
cartoonishly
and
tall
imposing,
and lanky,
cartoonishly tall and stick-like.
Mm-hmm.
But they just have this other man, and I was just like, he's short.
Number one, he's dressed like a dumbass. I don't know who made the costuming choices for poor Jafar, but dear God, it's so bad. Like, he doesn't look imposing or threatening. And like,
he just looks
like a dude. Like, he doesn't look.
He looks like think of like a rich billionaire that like tries to be imposing. I want to say Mark Zuckerberg. Think like Mark Zuckerberg if he tried to be an imposing supervillain, and you're just
exactly.
No.
It's like if Mark Zuckerberg wanted to be like
in his like $100,000 suit, right? And you're just like,
hey, little
no.
buddy. Well, okay.
That's what this felt like.
He is not cartoonishly evil enough.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up, and I think the most evil thing I remember him doing is like throwing a guy down a well. Which,
that's not true. He tied Aladdin to a chair and then kicked him off a cliff. Okay,
but like, still, like that's not imposing when you have Shere Khan.
He was absolutely going to drown.
When you have Shere Khan 2 movies ago, who showed up and murdered the leader of the wolf pack in front of his children, like.
Good point. And then literally was about to disembowel a child.
Yes.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
And then you go 3 movies later, and you have this man who is like
I see your point.
He just shows up and he's like, "What's up? I'm Jafar. I want power." And we're like, "How you doing?" Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going, Chief? Have a seat.
Wow.
Yes, I would agree. Jafar is absolutely the worst part of this film.
It's not
100%
good.
hook, line, and
It's
sinker.
not. Yeah.
However,
That's behind all of Will Smith's bad jokes. That's behind uh Jasmine's incredibly horny handmaiden.
I wanted to talk about
Um
Dahlia for a second because as much as I don't like them just throwing new characters into these movies, I think she's hilarious. Like, I love her.
she is pretty funny.
Like, that whole scene where Genie is attempting to talk to her and he's
Mhm.
like clamming up like he's a middle schooler. I think is like hilarious. Is that something we needed to see?
Like,
Absolutely not.
how old are
Am I
you?
glad that it's in this movie? Yes.
Yes, I
Like,
am.
I mean, there are a couple cute details that I feel like I do want to mention. The part where Aladdin's trying to like, where Jasmine is like, point to a Babwa on a map. Like, she has a map. She's like, point to it, and Aladdin picks it
Hmm.
up so she can't see it. And he's standing there like, Genie, please, for the love of God, help me. And Genie
Please
draws
help
him
me
a
for the love of
Genie
God.
Genie draws him a little map of Disneyland. Like, there's Fantasyland and Tomorrowland and Jungle
Yes.
Cruise, and I thought that was cute. I really enjoyed that. Um, I enjoyed the bit about the jams. That was funny. Yeah,
Final verdict. Does it
I'm gonna.
deserve to exist?
Does it deserve to exist? No, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Rachel, you know what? Hakuna Matata. In that case, on that
Oh
absolutely
god.
cringy dad joke, that's all we have for you today. Uh, Comment down below whether or not you want us to actually review the Disney Plus Lady and the Tramp and what you thought about this version of Aladdin. Was it too middle of the road? Did not go far enough? Let us know what you thought. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.